Hey everyone, and welcome back to the seasonal storm. We're getting ready to start our transition from late summer to early fall. We're going to be using lots of warm colors, and most of these products come from Walmart clearance or the Dollar Tree. If discount decorating and discount hauls and clearance hunting are your thing, feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll keep you updated for future videos. To get started for today's video, I'm going to show you guys the piece that inspired my theme, and we're going to discuss that a little bit first. So here's a sign I picked up earlier this season from the Dollar Tree, and you can see lots of red and sunflowers, and then the prints are kind of this metallic orange, some red, and then obviously a little touch of farmhouse and some glitter. So here are some of the pieces we're going to be using today. I've got obviously these really bright florals that I picked up at Walmart clearance, some yellow tulips that came from Dollar Tree earlier this season, some yellow sunflowers that came from the Dollar Tree, and a few other random bits and bobs throughout. Also, all the containers you can see on the lower right side are the ones that we'll be arranging in for our small arrangements first. So this is an example of how easy it is to create an arrangement. We're using a clearance pick, some clearance greenery, and I've literally popped one sprig of fall greenery in with a clearance pick, and it just adds a bright punch of color for a window. I have it styled here with a teacup with some few stray yellow flowers in it just to bring some more pops of yellow in. I have this antique vase that came from my mama, and we're going to go ahead and pull it apart and show the few pieces. So I have some pre-picked apart greenery, some pieces of clearance floral again, and some berry picks to continue our harvest theme. And again, I've just bunched these all up. There's really no arranging involved in this, and it kind of becomes an instant arrangement. I want this to be kind of wispy, like you just gathered it from your garden, but to last for the next big season. I have it styled with a small sign, the So Water Weight from Dollar Tree, and another teacup with some stray yellow flowers. As you can see, this greenery really vibes with the greens still going on outside as well. I'm not quite ready to bring out my fall floral or my fall leaves yet, so this is just why it's a transition piece. For this one, I'm using a Mason style milk jar, some Dollar Tree green grass, a 25-cent clearance pick from last fall season from Walmart, and then these clearance picks still had the tag on them from last year, and they're a grass with some feathers as well. Now, some of your Walmart feather picks will have real feathers, and some will have the fabric feathers. This one happened to have fabric feathers. I got this one, I believe, for 10 cents last clearance, but I have a whole clearance playlist if you're interested. So I'm going to layer these, just laying them one on top of the other. And as you can see, it kind of blends the grasses in together. Obviously, coming into the end of summer, not all of our grasses are super bright green anymore. Some of them are going to go ahead and start having that dying off type coloration. So I kind of wanted to mix those in. Now I've put some sunflowers on top of that, but I want to add a pop of red. So I have this pick of red carnations, and I had to reattach a head. I always recommend hot gluing these together. You can even melt the plastic with the tip of your hot glue gun if you'd like to. But we're going to add 2 little bundles of carnations to this and spread them out. And I like to drop some in and out and around the heads of the sunflowers. And then I had, because this is going in a window and it can be seen from the outside, I wanted to dress up the back a little bit. So I'm adding some standalone red rose picks. These came from what I believe was a Dollar Tree bundle, but I bought it at the thrift store, and they were already pre-cut apart. I don't use a lot of roses, but I do know that sunflowers and red roses are a very popular color combination even for summer weddings. So if you're thinking of doing an arrangement or a centerpiece, this is an option for what it can look like. And obviously carnations and roses have a very similar color and texture palette and blend really nicely together. I had styled that one too with my harvest bunny. He's always out. So this one, I took a mercury glass jar, and I took a piece of 25-cent clearance greenery from Walmart, and then a $1 sunflower pick. Sorry for all the my train of thoughts all over the place today. And I just put those two together. Now I'm not done with that one, but I wanted to make sure I didn't use all of my pieces up. For the heart-shaped vase, I put one of the red picks and then a little greenery pick with some berries. And then I took 2 more of the matching reds and mixed them into the other one. Now these are all going in the bathrooms. These are really small arrangements. So I took a yellow carnation and some of these red and coral roses to again kind of complement the sunflower and red themes that are going on in the other rooms without overpowering the sunflower palette. So I'm adding just a few roses in with these carnations just to keep the colors consistent. Now I love that corally orange rose. I wish I had more of those readily available. But here's the styling of the finished products. So the lower one, I only have kind of the reds and not very many yellows in. I might go back and add some yellows. And then I love this sunflower with the 2 red picks. I don't remember that exact type of flower, but I love how it looks in front of that cactus picture, which was from Dollar Tree. And then the top one with this little bit of yellow and a little touch of orange and red. The artwork on either side of these styled picks are all from the Dollar Tree, with the exception of the one made by the Little Miss in our household. So moving forward from these types of stylings and displays, here's another one I made for this window. Again, the sign is from Dollar Tree. All of the florals were clearance, and I designed that one to go with this coffee bar display. And I'm going to show you guys how I made this lemon tree. Now, there are tutorials how to make trees like this all over YouTube. So I just went ahead and did a time lapse and sped this one up. I did not do as much greenery as a lot of people do because I knew it would be on a very delicate shelf. So I did 2 sprigs of Dollar Tree greenery, and then I wrapped what used to be a toilet plunger, never used of course, with some burlap ribbon. And I secured the branches with a little bit of hot glue and pipe cleaners. And then those foam lemons from the Dollar Tree just pop onto the end of those little metal wire branches. And then I styled it with some clearance greenery and Dollar Tree greenery in the bottom. And I think it's really fun and summery and definitely inspiring for the huge harvest display we're about to start up in the kitchen. Now, I took down all my blue and green picks just because I'll be using those for the huge wedding floral project I have coming up. So I want this floral to last from now well into likely September, which I know is a really long stretch of time. So I need to span pretty much the end of this season and the beginning of the fall season. And I will go ahead and transition the shelf when I'm getting ready for Halloween next. So this is going to last well into the beginning of fall. I love how the color palette I'm choosing to use for this section includes all these really fun orange and yellow sunflowers. These are all from Dollar Tree. Now, these used to be darker, but I actually used to style these outside. So I love how these got definitely a little bit sun bleached. That was a cute face. And I love anchoring them and styling them around these letters that used to be red, but I hand painted and then I did a little bit of distressing on to make them blue. Now these letters I will be packing along for that wedding I'm going to be styling in September, and I'm going to actually be spray painting these turquoise. The next time I do a DIY with these letters, they will be becoming a different color. So everyone say goodbye to the blue letters. This is their final season that they will be this color. Now, I am throwing things on the floor. Thankfully, my mini-me, my bonus baby, was helping me out, and she was laughing the entire time. She thought it's so funny watching me arrange all the flowers up here, but she has a great eye and is quite honestly becoming a great florist in her own right. So I'm really proud of her. She made a bunch of really fun little floral arrangements for her room and her tea party this last week, and she did a great job. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm trying to keep it equal. Whatever I'm doing to the left, I'm trying to kind of copy and do for the right. Sorry if you guys can hear the motorcycles in the background. I'm at work. And I am trying to style these. Now in this big bucket, that requires a lot of floral. So I did 3 picks in that, 1 in the antler next to it. I think I have 1 on one half of the antlers next to the horse picture, 1 next to the lantern, and I'm going to have 3 bundles going across the letters for eat. So overall, I have quite a bunch going on up there. Now that I have my orange, my base color going, I'm going to add these red tulips. Now I know this is not exactly the most expected floral pick. I really was going more for the color than the plant itself, but I ended up adding yellow tulips as well, and I think that it turned out really cute. I know that most people think of a tulip as an early spring flower, but honestly, in the right climates, tulips can kind of bloom year-round. And it's kind of a nod to a little bit of my Norse heritage, because tulips, as everybody knows, were quite the big deal in the North for some time. They used to be traded as currency. Did you know that? So I'm setting aside in that one basket below the ones I'm going to make an individual bouquet for the letter T that I cannot reach from where I'm standing because I have somewhat short arms. So it can be kind of hard to stand on top of the counter and have to reach all the way over. But as you can see I'm doing with each pick, I'm separating the greens and I'm pulling the greens up as close to the flower as possible, and then separating out the wire to create the most dimension and make the best use of my space. I'm going to take these yellow mums and then these yellow tulips, and I have a lot of these mums in daisies. Apparently I didn't realize I had a daisy pick in there too. I have a lot of these mums for outside. I only got these this year from the Dollar Tree, and I'd like them to sun bleach a little bit more because they're still a little bit bright, but for where I'm using them in this arrangement, I think that they were just fine. But I'm going to separate those and kind of use them to help push my sunflowers up, just because I don't want the yellow to necessarily be the focal point, but I do want it to be included in my color palette. Now I'm taking these tulips, and I love these tulips. These were a clearance find from Walmart. These were 25 cents a piece. And again, everybody, Walmart floral clearance is starting now for spring and summer floral. So definitely download your apps and be ready to scan. Most of these items I bought on clearance were not tagged for clearance yet. I got them right when they were getting switched out. And every time I stop by any craft store or even Walmart, I always roll through the craft aisles to see if I can find any clearance finds. But anyway, as you can tell, kind of, my shoulders are in the way. I'm actually standing most of these up because I want to use them for their height. And I love how the bloom itself is very dainty and it lets the sunflowers kind of speak for the scene while still adding that little touch of greenery. And I love how the yellow isn't as powerful as the mum, so it still feels like I'm using multiple tones. If you see me looking over and talking, I'm asking her opinion as to where I should put each pick. And I think she made some really great calls. So quite frankly, I think someday my job is going to be replaced by her doing this, because she has quite the eye for where flowers should sit and where they should fold and hold the entire scene together. So I'm kind of trying to arrange them and use the letters to anchor them where they stand. And I'm realizing I've got some big gaps. So I'm going to take some more of my clearance greenery. This was a 25-cent pick from Walmart. And I have another one that's similar. And I love this one with the little tiny berries on it because it reminds me in a big way of the sage around where we live. So it's a very natural feel. And then these green grass picks, these were all from Dollar Tree that I got for the springtime and somehow did not use. But I love how during their time in storage, they kind of got this fun curl to them. So I try to stand these up as much as possible using the lantern in the back, the antler, and then the wiring from some of the other faux florals to keep them standing. And then I'm going to lay a few of them down more so, just as though they were getting weighed down by the wind or by the weight of the natural plants if they were real. And of course, I'm dropping things left and right. And I'm also just trying to fill some of this other open space, because when you're sitting on the couch across the room, even if you can't see it from this angle, you can see the open spaces really well from a lower angle. So I'm always asking whoever's sitting across the room for their input and their thoughts on where things are going. And you know what? You have to play around with things a lot. You have to move them around and really kind of juggle and figure out what can lay where. Okay, I grabbed this gigantic sunflower pick. I got this one last season as well. It was 70 cents from Walmart. And then a grass pick that has some yellow and orange butterflies, because I thought that would add something interesting to that corner above that Dollar Tree summer sign that is hanging on the side of my cabinet. And then I'm rearranging this grass to kind of lay like a prairie grass would lay. Final fluffings, and I'm pretty sure I'm just about done. I decided to add a touch more of greenery and bring these ferns back into the bucket. And that's just to kind of break up the monotonous space that is the metal bucket with that brown wire around it. Now that one did come from Walmart. My mom bought that actually. I'm not really sure how much it cost, but I do see a lot of galvanized buckets like that coming out for fall. And I think that it goes great for every season, whether it's Christmas or fall. And I think that during the wintertime, it's really fun to fill with bright ornaments or anything like that, or even some little packages or presents. And yeah, sometimes when you're working with floral, it's a bit of a fight. Now, I took these other picks. These heather picks are both from last year's harvest collection at Walmart, and these were both 25 cents on clearance, but they were broken, which is very common with clearance finds. And so even though the flowers don't mix, because I wanted to add a little bit more color and dimension, I popped on some loose floral heads that were in the yellows on top of that. And then I'm just tucking those back into the tea on both sides. This one I had a loose sunflower head and another one of those yellow roses, so I tucked that in there as well. And then I took this bigger green pick and shoved it in there. Now as we enter September, I will likely switch out some of these dark green florals and put in some fall leaves before I switch this completely for Halloween. And here's the finished product on that one. I am loving how this all turned out and how natural it feels. And I love how the colors kind of reflect the sunsets that we have here in Nevada, especially the one in that wild horse image, and how it goes with the colors with the chicken and the lantern, and then really contrasts with the blue of the eat. I think that really helps tie together our living space, and it blends really beautifully with the other fall florals, or early fall florals, I should say, that we have started to work on. So to wrap things up on today's project, for all 9 of these projects, the entire cost of florals was just over $49. You can watch my clearance haul videos from the past to see how I clearance shop and how you can get these savings too. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I will see you guys in the next one.